navigate inflation, how we can save more. And so we're just so excited to bring you some strategies that's been working for our household, and then not only that has been working for our household, but that we believe that will be a blessing to you. So if you hear something that's amazing, or something that's blessing you, or something that you know is will be good for somebody else, the only thing we ask you to do is share it. Share, 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 because sharing is so powerful. The conversation, because we know that you already like the content, but it's an algorithm out there, and we're trying to navigate that algorithm also. So the more likes that we get, of course, it pushes it to the top of the page. So needless to say, we are so excited to be here tonight. If y'all have questions, we are committed to supporting you. Don't let this just be a monologue. We want this to be a
Yes.
dialogue. So make sure that you ask any questions that you have. Come to the table and leave with more information. For those of you that are pulling up to our Closer experience, if this is your first time, Closer is our midweek experience at the Leadership Church. We call it an experience because it could be a variation of groups, small groups, Bible study, midweek pop up services, chat and choose, panel discussions, and conversations and coaching groups just like this. The believers foresees that the leadership church is calling, competence, confidence, and character. And so we believe that it's very important that you have competence in your finances. And because that is Pastor Tony and myself wheelhouse, we wanted to share our knowledge with the kingdom and with you tonight. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so excited to have you. Anything you want to say?
Oh no, just ready to get rolling. And again, just I second the idea of sharing, because this is a very pivotal time in our economy and our nation. And as you can see, so many things are going on. So many laws are being passed trying to bring down inflation. And then on yesterday, the Dow hit one of its lowest levels since, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think since 2 or 3 years ago. I think they lost almost 900 points. So, inflation is just fighting, trying to stay up high, and we need inflation to come down. Housing prices are remaining high, but they're starting to fall a little bit. Cost of goods are still high. So we're just here trying to do our part
Yes.
in helping others do better in their finances. And of course, we don't have all of the answers, but suppose we give you one or two answers. What does that do? That gets you one or two answers closer to financial wellness. So I'm super excited about tonight. I know you are. Again, it's just going to be an exciting night. So let's roll. Reach out to Pookie and them and everyone that's always borrowing from you. Yeah, that cousin or aunt that's always asking you for money. Tell them I have something I want to give you tonight, and they may say some money. Say no, some sound financial advice from Tony and Eleshia Cash. So I'm excited.
Yes, financial literacy and what we consider, we talk more about is financial intelligence. That's just the space that we're in, because I think when people hear literacy, they think about only reading materials.
Right.
But when people hear the word financial intelligence, they think about knowledge, a concept that they have adopted and that they've learned. And so, when you think about where we are in this current space with the economy, do you believe that families, even since the year 2022, have we become better with finances? Are more financially sound? Would you think that families have more conversations about finances, and financial intelligence is being passed down?
Well, one of the things I do, and I know you do a lot
And,
of
and
the.
and I want to start first with the Black community, because that's
Absolutely.
the community that we're a part of.
Absolutely.
Okay.
One of the things that I do, and I know you do a lot of this also, is reading and educating ourselves on what's happening in the world of finances. And like you said, specifically with people of color. And one of the things I ran across, and I think I sent this to you about 2 or 3 days ago, was on Yahoo, and it was about a writer, Carrie Harmon. I'm sorry, Carrie Hannon, and they were asking the question: are we as Americans uh, getting more more financially astute, or is our education lessening? And unfortunately, the survey stated that we are, as Americans, we are actually we actually know less today than ever before about finances. As a matter of fact, it said that financial literacy in America has steadily declined over the last 12 years. So that means that we, instead of being smarter with all of the finances we're making, the money we're earning, that our intelligence, as Eleshia said, surrounding money is actually lessening. And so that's the gap that Eleshia and I have dedicated our lives to try to close for the Black community. We know that one of the challenges in our communities is our people don't necessarily love reading. We talk about that all the time. We try to teach our own children, to love reading. But one of the things that we have decided is, okay, if we're dealing with a community that is just simply not in love with reading and we want to help them, then it's incumbent upon us to do the reading. So, it would be a great thing,
Yes.
Eleshia, if I could say to you, yeah, they're getting smarter about money, but unfortunately, the statistics says that's not the case.
Well, I mean, you're living in a different time now. I mean, the current generation will say, "Well, it's 2022. There's so many different ways that I can get a hold to financial content. Doesn't necessarily have to be in a book. It could be an Audible. It could be a podcast. It could be on YouTube University. I can watch a video now where
Yeah.
before content was strictly dedicated to what we saw in a book. So now authors that necessarily write books, now they're doing audibles, and
Yeah.
authors are also now putting content in other places, for such as a podcast, or also such as any type of videos to get the message out there. So uniquely, that's why I think I kind of try to navigate it from the word financial literacy to the word of financial intelligence. If we are now adopting those core values and I guess disciplines that it takes to be a good financial steward.
Yeah, one of the things that, first of all, you're absolutely right. One of the things that, and of course, uh, in the just to make sure that I'm being transparent, I've written 2 books before I make my statement. Um, can someone bring me those 2 books there in the studio? Bring me those 2 books there, right there in the bag. And so let me say this before I say this. I've written 2 books, and I'll share those 2 with you. But the thing that I have found out about reading that's different than audio, different than YouTube, different than any other means of learning is that a book allows you to have ownership, to make notes, allow you to pass those notes and those ideas and those thoughts down to your children and down to maybe a spouse. And so I am certainly one who is a proponent of the audio and the video. But one thing about reading is that it has been found that when you read material, you retain it at a higher level. So, shameless plug. My first book was "I Know Why You're Broke, Do You." That can be found uh, on Amazon.com. And my second book recently was Financial Freedom, A New Beginning. So make sure you go out and cop that and get that for a family member, a friend. But I'm really just a big proponent of reading because it allows you ownership of the material.
Well, if you watch it tonight, y'all drop it in the chat. Tell us what you think. What's your learning style? Because everyone does learn different. How are you learning about financial intelligence? What is your best way to get content and information to you that will help you grow in your finances? Because we want to meet you where you are. If that is a podcast or if that is a audible, I want you to drop it in the chat. I love to read. My first job was in the library. So I read plenty of books, and I'm always an advocate for book and for reading. But I do recognize
My
that,
first spitball was in the
you
library.
know what?
We were supposed to be learning, but I'm in there throwing spitballs going, yeah. So yeah, the library has, a lot of things you can do there.
But I do know that there is a disconnect in our community
Yes,
when it comes to financial wellness.
yes.
And so just wanted to kind of get a good gauge of where people are, especially since that article came out about, when it comes to Americans. One of the things that we talk a lot about when it comes to finances is having a strong financial core. And I want to just kind of, talk about that before we dive into ways to navigate this whole entire inflation, because it's going to go back to the core before we can even say, because if you don't get the core piece right, when we drop all these nuggets tonight, you're going to find yourself back where you were if you don't get these core things right when it comes to your finances. So there are some financial core commitments that you have to have in order to navigate this whole financial intelligence space. So number one is, you already, I saw beliefs, and so is that the same as values?
Yes.
Okay.
And no, you didn't see that. Look up there.
Oh, values is okay, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're on the same
Okay,
page.
so the first thing is how you value money, and you have to talk about that. We're not gonna fight with this microphone all night, but
It's okay. Go ahead.
a lot of times we have to talk about how you value money. What does that look like in your household? What does that look like in the way you operate? And so those things are very important for you, because if you don't put your values in place of what it means and what it comes to in your finances, when we drop these different strategies and to help you navigate the whole inflation piece, you won't adopt them because your values don't align with the commitments and requirements that you have to do. Go ahead.
Absolutely. No, no. I agree with you. The thing about having a financial value system is it's a seatbelt against financial wreckage. It's like excuse me, it's like the seatbelt in your car. You hope that you don't need it, and you hope that you don't wreck. But hey, if you do, at least you have what? You have that safety net there to make sure that it doesn't end up taking your life. And
Mhm.
one thing about having a financial value system is when when temptations come and this impulsive spending come or these emotional feelings come, when you have a value system, Elisha,
Mhm.
the value system helps you uh, say, well, I want that, I'm feeling that, and I'm thinking about that. But guess what? My value system says that's not what's good for me. So I would say that that has to be the root of your financial well-being. What are your value systems? What is your value system? What is the ultimate goal you have, and what are the things that you're just unwilling to do that will undo your financial success in your life?
I hope you guys are writing this down. Okay. We're talking about financial core commitments for those people that just joined us. And we're dropping nuggets tonight. So make sure that you get something, you write this information down, because we want you to win in your finances. And you got to take notes, and you have
Yes.
to make sure that you write it down so that you can run with it later.
Oh, I want to say one more thing about this financial value system. One of the things that I have learned about the financial value system is it keeps you from falling prey to people who don't have a financial value system.
Hmm.
So when people who don't have a financial value system comes to you and want you to do things, want you to give them your money for some outlandish reason, don't want you to go somewhere that's not in your best interest, buy something that's not in your best interest, you can actually speak your financial value system to them and clearly articulate why you can't do that, and it
Yes.
protects you. So I wanted to say that because that's one of the things that, if you're dealing with people, maybe it's a spouse, maybe it's a friend, family member that has not uh, uh, ascertained that financial value system, you hold on to yours. And when those moments come, what happens is you're able to articulate to them the why you're unwilling to destroy your finances.
So that's called influence. And so that's one of the things that I was going to talk about next too, because you segue right into that is making sure that you have a positive influence around you,
Yeah, yeah,
because that help guide you in your thoughts, that helps guide you in your goals, and it's great for accountability. It helps you stay boxed in to what your financial goals are. So what are your financial influencers? What is it that you're taking in on a regular basis? If you're influenced by social media and the only thing that you see are sales, more things to purchase, more things to go buy, more rims, more cars, if that's all that you're soaking up, and then when you check your email, if all you're getting is the Macy's sale or the Bath and Body Works coupons or anything that is
yeah.
enticing you to spend, even when it comes to large purchases, what is in it? What are you reading? What are you engaging in that is influencing you to adopt and keep your financial core values?
Absolutely. That when we were kids, there used to be this guy named, and I know you guys out there remember him. Excuse me, Mr. Rogers. Anyone remember Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood? And he used to sing this song, "Who are the people in your neighborhood? In your neighborhood? In your neighborhood?" Why is that important? Because we oftentimes assimilate those people that we associate with. And I'll tell a story, and I'm going to embarrass her a little bit. But Jeanette and I were talking the other day about that, and we were literally talking about the people you have constant conversations with and how they influence you. And so and the idea was this, um that if you're constantly talking to people that financial well-being, gaining wealth, being better financial stewards is not at the top of their mind, then guess what? It's very difficult to believe that's going to be at the top of your mind. But if you're talking to people who are saying, hey, I want to grow my finances, I want to increase my wealth, I want to be a better financial steward. Somehow, when we associate with those kinds of people, then we find ourselves in better financial situations. So, the influencers in our lives, and some of us can look at our lives now and we're 40, 50, 60, and we can look back and say, you know what? I never had a great financial influencer in my life. So I'm going to give you a little nugget. Find you a great financial influencer and stick close to them.
Right, like Tony and Alicia. We are we are your money mentors. That's our title. We are money mentors. And so if you would like to be mentored by us, we have some great opportunities
Yeah,
that
going over to
will
TonyCash.web.
org that is coming up soon. But number one, I hope you're writing. We're going to talk about ways to save and navigate this whole space when it comes to inflation. So, are you guys ready? If you're ready, drop ready in the chat. Number one, reduce rates on other debts. So, Tony, talk to everyone and tell us, aside from a mortgage, how do we budget debt repayment towards credit cards, student loans, and other lines of credit? How do we pay off debt
Yeah.
to reduce rates on
Sure,
debt? Yes.
sure. Great question. One of the things that I'll tell anybody is, and Elisha was very transparent last week, and I think a lot of you remember me saying probably a little too transparent. But okay, I mean, I'm the transparent king, so I guess how can I talk? But one of the things I tell people is, sometimes you're just going to make mistakes. We're human, or as Jeanette says, human, and we're going to make mistakes. And we're not going to always get it right. But and so sometimes you might get in a place where there's a lot of debt or more debt than you would like, and you're paying 4 or 5 credit cards, and one of the things I'm a big proponent of is consolidating debt. So finding that one loan that can consolidate those particular debts, bring them under one loan or one house as they financial house, and then what happens is, number one, because you're not paying 4 or 5 payments, you're paying one. Now your payments are lower. Number two, now they're probably going to offer you a lower interest rate. Now your rate that you're paying or the interest you're paying is lower. And number three, something that I think everybody would want, and your blood pressure is lower. So we want to do 3 things. We want to consolidate the loan. We want to lower the rate, and we want to lower our blood pressure, because nothing gets your blood pressure higher than when you're stressed about money. So I'm a big proponent of maybe you've made a mistake, but consolidating those loans onto one loan. And then here's the other bonus of that, Eleshia. Once you consolidate those loans and your payments are less, you can take that additional amount that you are not paying on all of those loans and now put it towards that loan, and you can pay less interest by paying that loan off in a shorter amount of time.
Yes, because zero balance transfers can really help you get ahead. Over, like, sometimes you could get a card that has a 0%, even if it's a balance transfer that's for a year. I don't know. I think a lot of times they give you stipulations.
Yeah, they'll
Right,
give you
for
maybe a year, 18 months, 21 months.
Right, but 18 months is a good amount of time to really pay down some debt and get ahead of yourself. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and the thing about it is, what you want to do is find those cars that have the lowest percentage transfer fee. In other words, some of them will say, in order to give you this 0% interest rate, there's a 3% transfer fee. Some will say 5%. So you want to look for the ones that will give you the lowest transfer fee. And so I would say, let's say you had $10,000 balance, and they said, transferring it would cost you 3%. Well, I don't know what that is, but I'm thinking it might be about $300. Would that be about $300? So it'll cost you $300 to transfer $10,000 into that particular credit card. And you might say, "Wow, that's a lot." Well, it's not a lot if you've got 4 other credit cards, and each month you're paying $40, $50 a month for that every month. Well, you pay that one-time $300 fee, and then now you have this 0% interest rate that you can start putting all of those other funds that were once going to 4 or 5 credit cards. You can take all of those payments now and collapse them on one payment. Now, all of a sudden, what was going to take you 10, 15 years, now in 2 or 3 years, you can get that paid for, because the end game is always to be debt free. And that's one of the things that Eleshia and I want you to know, that the end game to everything we're telling you is to be debt free.
Yeah, so I hope you guys are getting this tonight. If you have questions, drop them in the chat, and our producer will try to get those questions to us so that we can answer them before we conclude tonight.
Yeah.
So, right, the first thing is reduce rates on other debts. The second thing is complete an energy audit. I don't know about you guys, but the energy bills have been through the roof. And so if you don't have, I don't know who your provider is, but if you're not on a particular plan where if you didn't have the opportunity to take advantage of a plan where your bill is at a steady rate already, then that may be something that you want to consider during inflation because the electricity bills are going through the sky, through the roof right now. And also consider, other things that's in your home. You may need to seal off your windows. You may need to consider putting in those efficient light bulbs, that things like that that help you reduce your bills. And then also you may want to think about having your HVAC system service like you're supposed to twice a month. Believe it or not having it serviced may be a problem or a reason why that you are receiving these high
Mhm.
energy bills. So number two is have an energy audit. Believe it or not, that will help. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, the number one energy audit that is needed in my home is everybody needs to sleep in the same room,
You know
because
what?
the people in my house leave too many lights
Oh
on.
my God, he's a
And
light
I'm
thief.
irritated that this aspect of the conversation even came up, because the number one guilty party is to the left of me. I don't like lights on because lights cost money, as my sister Nikki would say. But I'll tell you a funny story, kid you not, and how this really works. I had bought a home in Jonesboro real quickly, and of course I was a single man, and I was audited by the electric company. They audited me because I had like 3 or 4 months where my light bill was less than $30. And the people who lived in the house prior to me routinely had a $200 or $300 electric bill. And they accused me of stealing electricity from my neighbors. And I went down there, I said, no, 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 no. I'm not stealing electricity. I don't turn my lights on. In the daytime, I would walk in the house, no lights came on. And at night, do y'all remember the little uh, light things that you could put on the wall and push the light? And then, the light comes on in the closet. You remember that,
I
sweetheart?
do.
So I had like 6 of them all over my house. So whenever room I went in, I would push that light and the room would light up.
That's a hot
Oh
mess.
yes, and I had about a $7 a month battery bill. But that's what they could not believe. And you know who else used to be like that? My sister Nikki. She'd tell you, in her driveway, she telling you to turn the light off in her house. I haven't come in yet, shook. But the thing about it is, a lot of this that we're saying is we have to care enough to protect our finances, even in things like leaving a room, turn the light off, leaving the house, put the air conditioner on 75. The later it gets at night, turn the air up so that, because it's cooler at night. Teach your children to turn the lights off. Tell them that it's in the middle of the day. They don't have to sit in the living room, or as Jack does in the basement, or it's not the basement. I don't know what
We
room.
call it his man cave.
Yeah, he's not a man, so it's not a man cave. It's a boy space. But anyway, he sits in there all day with the lights on, and then when I shake him down for money, he say, "I don't have any money." Well, if you don't have any money, you shouldn't have any lights. You know why God said, "Let there be light"? Because He was the electric company. You're not the electric company, so you can't say, "Let there be light."
You all see what I have to deal with.
Okay.
Right. And needless, he forgot to say that he tried to use those same strategies when we first got married too, and not turn on the air conditioner and only blow a fan. And then I was like, no, sir, we're gonna have to use some air boo. So y'all stretch our hands to
Oh
me
yeah, I
because
did.
I need prayer. But no, seriously, that is definitely one way to help bring down
Yes.
your debt. The third thing, I'm sorry, I'm counting correctly, is save on car insurance. This one is huge. Talk about that, Tony.
Well, they say that a lot of times. That's just one of those simple ones that even we need to do.
Yes.
I really do believe that even now that our auto insurance is
Hmm.
too high, and I just think they're figuring, well, they've been with us for 5 6 years. They're not asking, so you know who cares. So one of the things is that making sure, a lot of people are very astute at making sure they're not underinsured, but a lot of people don't check to see if they're overinsured. You can literally be overinsured, meaning that you can have a lot of things on there that really, at the time, at the place you're at in life, don't really apply to where you're at. You've got a car that, what are the likelihoods of you really needing it to be towed? You got a brand new car, so do you really think in the next 2 years that the engine is going to break down where it needs to be towed? A lot of different things. So just really paying attention to those small things because they really do add up.
Yes. So, raising your deductible, which could lower your monthly
Yeah.
premium, negotiating a safe driving discount, reducing coverage if appropriate, and comparing quotes and changing auto insurance companies for a better price. So I hope you guys are getting it. That's number three, is to save on car insurance. Number four, eliminate unnecessary subscription and fees. This is one of my favorites because is we do something every year. We do an audit of our subscriptions. That means whether it's, first of all, we don't have cable, and that has saved us a lot of money for many
Now
years.
I looked in the backyard the other day and saw a lot of cable back there. I saw some line from cable. We do have cable line, just not in the house. It's in our backyard. So if you come to our house, you gotta go to the backyard and look at our cable.
Yes. So now people have a good bit of people have navigated from cable to streaming services. But if you have multiple streaming services, you have to re-look at how much are you really
Hmm.
saving. So an average of $55 on streaming services a month is probably where you want to stay. Anything over that, then you have to reevaluate if that's what you want to do just to watch TV or for entertainment. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, what's 55 times 12? Is that like six? Is that like 600, $700? Janae, what's that number? 55
We
times
have a
12. That's 660. So now, if you do that little number times 10, that times 10 years, I think that's about $7,000 to $8,000. So my thought process is, if you don't have $7,000 to $8,000 saved, you don't need cable. How you how you watching more than you're saving? I'm just saying, if you don't even have 7 to 8 thousand saved, how are you watching more TV than you're saving? These are the thoughts and the uh, new ways of thinking that we have to have. You cannot have more TV than you do savings.
Wow. I forgot to mention Tony multiplies everything times 12. So I don't care what conversation he has, he's gonna use that same equation to help you determine if you can afford it or not. So I should have been ready for that. The other piece is that you may want to look at. We talked about cable. We also talked about internet, because sometimes you have cable and internet at the same time, and you also want to look at
Mm,
cell phones and cell phone apps. Look at those, because some
mm.
apps require a subscription, also to have more storage. Those things are starting to add up. So we talk about eliminating unnecessary subscription and fees, that's where we're starting to look at those
Okay.
small pieces.
So the phone thing. This is
Okay.
this is this is this is a pet peeve of mine. You have three people you normally talk to. Your job doesn't require you to use your phone. uh, you why is your phone bill 100 or some odd dollars? The only reason you would pay that kind of money for a phone if it's making you more than it's costing. If you have a simple life, then you need a simple plan. You know, you might need to move from Boost to Cricket. It's another one that I saw out there that a movie star has. I don't know his name. I can't think of his name, but he has one. What's that guy name? Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Yes, he has one, and I think it's only $21 a month. Ready Wireless. You know what I'm saying? So you need to move from Boost to Cricket to Are You Ready? Because guess what? At the end of the day, are you really using that much phone? And again, if your phone bill is $100 a month, 1,200 times 100 times 12 is 1,200 a month. When you do that times 10, is that somewhere in the neighborhood in 10 years you've spent $12,000 on a cell phone? Am I correct in that numerical calculation?
Yes.
Think about that. Because okay, she's going to calm me down, but let me say this. This is why you need to go to tonycash.org and chart out some time with Eleshia and I, because these are the kind of things that when you sit down and talk to us, we're going to initiate in your mind. Think about that. I know you didn't see it before, but think about this. $12,000. What could you do in 10 years with what could you do right now if the last 10 years of your life you had saved $12,000? Could you have paid off a credit card? Could you have bought your car outright without a car note? Could you have moved in a better community? Could you save that so that your child could go to a better school? Could you take a nicer trip, maybe to Hawaii, maybe you can move from Savannah, Georgia every year to maybe going to California. $12,000 is still a nice chunk of money. And that's what we do. We help you see money in a different way and how your behavior is either positively or negatively affecting your life.
The last thing we also will throw out there is banking fees. Don't discount looking at how much your bank is charging you to have a checking account or a savings account, because then you can look up and you're paying nearly $32 a month
Yes.
for these different accounts, and so you multiply that times 12, and then you try to figure out, am I getting my money's worth? Could I cut back in these areas? So these are just simple ways, and I hope this is blessing you tonight. If so, put in the chat, y'all blessing me. We want to know.
Let me say this, sweetheart.
Yes.
I just sat here and calculated in my head that if you had a cable bill for $55, $60 a month over the last 10 years and a phone bill for $100 a month over the last 10 years, you just gave someone else $20,000 of your money. Do you know what $20,000 invested at a return of 6, 5, 7% would be? You'd be in the neighborhood of $35,000, $40,000. So this is why, I've come on this line so many times, and we tell you, come to tonycash.org, and nobody really does. That's okay. I have a presentation in October that I have to do. I'm hoping my wife will join me. It would be nice if she joins me in doing that. But the thing about it is that I tell people, if someone charged you a couple of dollars to save you thousands, why wouldn't you do that? Like if I tell you, if you give me $10, I can show you how to get 1,000. You are $990 in the black. Why wouldn't you do that? So you really got to start asking yourself, just like Eleshia said about your home, winterizing your home, summarizing your home, making sure you have the right things in your windows so that the air doesn't come in. Well, guess what? You have to do the same thing for your finances. You have to do the same, making sure that there are no leaks in your finances, making sure you're not losing money in unnecessary places.
All right, y'all heard it right here tonight at Money University. We're trying to get you all set up for during this time of inflation, and so this is the best time to audit and reconsider
Yes.
behaviors because it's right before the holidays where people tend to do the most spending.
Yes.
And so it's great to have these reflections about your financial picture on where you are so you don't enter into this next season with all of these your values and your beliefs and your financial goals thrown to the side. I can tell you this year everybody's getting a box of cookies. Okay. That's oh yeah, everybody's getting cookies this year because we are on we are on a financial run. We got some financial goals that we have to get. And here, this brings me to number 5. Shop smarter at the grocery store. Oh my goodness. The other day, some coupons came in the mail, and I normally would take all those coupons and throw them in the trash because, I don't like a lot of paper. Paper gets on my nerves. So when I see all those papers come in and they have all the junk mail, they go, I don't even look at them. They go straight in the trash. But since we've been inflation, I've been cutting the little coupons. Y'all should see me cutting the little coupons. Like, oh, you can save 35 cents on Gatorade. Yeah, 35 cents didn't seem a lot long time ago, but now since we're inflation and everything is up, that starts to add up when you get to the register. So I put them in a little Ziploc bag. But it's funny. If you're gonna download an app, make sure you download an app that can help you save money where you
Yes.
have the apps that now a lot of the grocery stores they drop the coupons in the apps and you can get to the service
Yes.
checkout and you can pull up your phone and begin to scan all the coupons and all the sales. Just sometimes I give it to the cashier. I hadn't even looked at it. I just get to the cashier, like scan my barcode and see if I saving anything today. And that's very important for those people that go to Target. Same thing. Use your Target circle to see what it is that can allow you to save on rewards. There's so many different things.
Okay, so here's another thing. Now, she is not going to agree with this, what I'm about to say. It's time in the current market that we're in to start looking at off-brand grocery. I'm saying because some of you people of pigmentation, melon, darkness, tinted skin, you all are so name brand that even your food has to have a name brand. And it's time, I'm telling you, the market we're in and the cost of grocery, it's time to start considering
Okay.
foods that are not name brand.
Okay, I got him. So I do believe that you can swap some brand name items for generic products. I'm not above that, and that is a great idea. But imagine me bringing you Publix brand Nabisco instead. So we're gonna try it instead of
I didn't.
but he threw it out there,
Hold up.
right?
Preachers are not supposed to swear. We're supposed to be holy. And some riled up in me about my Nabisco. But now, hold on now. Hold on. I did try the public brand Nabisco,
Okay.
and being transparent with you, they just taste like Hibiscos. They weren't Nabiscos, and my taste buds just couldn't. I'm not, but I'm gonna tell you that I am open to that because let me say this. I don't spend a lot of money, so she's being a little facetious because she knows I don't even swipe my debit card. She can tell. She can't even tell you the last time I don't even swipe my debit. Like I'm no, I don't do that. But it really is time to consider a different grocery store. Maybe those grocery stores that sell. What's some of the places I mean, I know people go to Costco's and they go to
Sam's. They
Sam's,
sell bulk
but
items.
then when you don't really need bulk items, you know, maybe you can go to what's the grocery? Give me some names of some of those.
People like
They don't give you a
Aldi,
shopping bag now. You gonna have to carry it in your hand.
Aldi's,
All these, so that if
uh-huh,
now if you who
Lidl.
Lidl,
Yes.
okay, Big Bear. No, I'm kidding. I'm not, because I don't know who work at Big Bear might see this, but no, I don't mean that.
Yeah,
Don't
but
go to the bear.
we get what you're saying.
Aldi, okay.
Do a good shop analysis before you go out and shop. I am an all things Publix person, and so I do have to learn. I haven't been to an Aldi's, so I do have to do a
But
little
you
bit.
needs to go.
I have to do a little bit better. So this is my area of growth. Okay, so I will do a little bit better. I commit to.
Say it loud. I'm
I
black and I'm proud.
I commit to doing better. Y'all heard it
Now, do you
tonight.
commit now, Sugar? Doing better now. Do you commit to going to Aldi's,
I said I will visit.
Liddell? What is it? Liddell is it?
Yeah,
Lidl?
Lidl.
And do you commit to going there?
I will do a visit. We're gonna have a field
Okay, we're
trip.
gonna do a field trip.
We're gonna do a field trip, and we'll come
Okay.
back next week and tell you how it goes.
Dollar Tree.
No.
No, some of the
Mm-mm.
some of the simple things though. I'm not talking about the important things, but there are some of the simple things you can get. You know, I think about, like, I'll go get a Diet Coke from Dollar Tree. It costs $2.60 at Quick Trip. I get it for $1.25 in the Dollar Tree.
Oh, so let me tell you, if he goes in Quick Trip and he could be thirsty, and we could be
Dying of thirst.
dying of thirst, and he goes into the gas station and see the cost of a soda, he would come out. I'm thinking he's gonna come back with a soda. He's like, I wonder if there's a Dollar Tree around here. Sir, if you don't go in there and get that Diet Coke, I said, the gas you waste to find a Dollar Tree, he putting it in a GPS. You could be in there, get it. So, that's just a little life of the Cashes.
Oh yeah, I did that the
Yes,
weekend of Nikki's wedding.
he
We were
did.
on the way,
Yes.
and that man said that'll be $2.80. And as Nikki said, I said, no, your mama.
No,
So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go get in my car and go get me a dollar soda. But okay, I'm getting ready to share something with you, and I'm gonna leave it alone. One of the things the reason I do that has nothing to do with money, though. It has things with me staying true to my values.
yes, absolutely.
See, because I know that if I don't hold on to my values for the small dollar amount, it's difficult to do with the lot. So what I'm really doing is I'm practicing my values. It's really not that I'm thinking I can't afford the $2 soda. It's that I'm holding on to values, because values practiced at a small amount allows you to be ruler over greater things.
Okay, we're trying to get to everything tonight. Number 6 is making room in your budget for investing. For some people, periods of rising prices might seem like the wrong time to invest, right? Why would you put your money into a stock market when you're facing higher monthly costs? But for other people, this may be a greater time to consider investing. Talk a little bit about making room in your budget for investing.
Number one, we don't personally do recommendations for what you invest in,
Mhm.
because that requires license, and you can really get in trouble for that. But we can talk to you about making room for that area of your life. And one of the things that statistics show is that those people who have investments in things like stocks, bonds, even when they go up and down, things like real estate, and different things that licensed investment counselors can help you with, end up at the end of their life having almost 1,000% greater wealth than those who save their money in a checking account or a savings account. And maybe you had $40,000 that you saved in a savings account for 10 years. It's definitely not going to equal that $40,000 in the market for 10, 15, 20 years. Sure, there's going to be ups and downs, but there's just no way a savings account can match that. And so really making room for that really means eliminating debt. Some people feel like they don't have room for investing because they have too much debt. The other part of it is, and this is just something I'll tell anybody who sits down with me for financial counseling, is that every aspect of your financial being, you're taking a risk. Because a lot of times people of color will say things like, "Oh, I don't like taking a risk with my money. I don't want to lose it." Well, number one, if your money is just sitting in a savings account, and right now inflation is somewhere around 6-7%, but the bank is giving you 0.001, you're losing money. How are you losing money? Because that same money that you could buy things with 2 years ago, the prices have risen. You can't buy the same thing with the same amount of money. So I think everybody knows that the groceries that you could buy with $100 3 years ago, go in the grocery store now with $100, and you'll walk out with about 5 or 6 items, and then you'll walk out also mad as all outdoors, because $100 now is somewhere in the neighborhood of about 70, $80, what $80 were 3 years ago.
And I want to make sure we clear up language. When he speaks of, I'm sorry, of money sitting in a checking account, he's not speaking about your emergency fund.
Right.
So your emergency fund should be, 6 months rent, or 6 months of your mortgage.
6 months to a year, we
6 months to a year of your mortgage or rent sitting in a savings account. That's your emergency fund. So you're supposed to have that. That should sit, because if you need to have an emergency, you need to have access to cash. So he's not speaking of that. He's speaking of, if you have a great sum of cash, a couple of thousand sitting there, then you want to consider relooking at it differently. And so we hope that tonight, this is our last one, our number 7 is increase your income if possible. So this is our last step. Number 7 is increase your income if possible. One of the biggest problems with inflation and higher prices is that income doesn't rise accordingly. While the Great Resignation happened in 2021, prompted some employers to increase wages for workers, pay rates in the US have remained largely stagnant for decades. So finding ways to increase your income can make periods of extended inflation easier to get through a budget for.
Yes.
Some of the possibilities for increasing income might be selling things that you don't need, negotiating a pay raise with your current employer, even changing jobs for a better pay, taking on a part-time remote opportunity, and starting a side hustle that will bring extra income into your household. What do you think about that?
Well, I'll tell people all of those things are great, but the easiest and the fastest way to get a pay increase is to get rid of debt. You want a quick, fast pay increase. Get rid of debt and watch how what you thought you didn't make seems like a lot when you don't owe anyone.
Yes.
Because all of those things that Eleshia said so brilliantly are so true and factual, but they take someone outside of you to help you. It takes you getting someone to believe in your business, or someone hiring you, or the manager giving you the increase. But you can control the your business of eliminating debt and watching how much more comes into your household income. So but those are some great things that we can do. I just wanted to add that little bit in there.
Well, we hope you enjoyed us tonight. Are there any questions? We don't want to make sure we miss any questions. If you had any questions about the information we went over tonight, don't be scared. Drop your questions in the chat. It's because I know people going to inbox me later and say, I had a question, but I was scared to ask Eleshia.
But if you don't have a question, can you please put in the chat how much this has blessed you, or if you enjoyed it. Like, I really would love to be able to read those from those who, if it did not understand, don't put that in there, sugar. Don't put that in there. But if it really blessed you, don't just hold it to yourself. Can you put it out there so that others can read, and maybe specify how it blessed you and some things that it made you think about? I would love for that to be out there because we can even learn from that.
Yes, throw some fire in the chat tonight and tell us, just say y'all was on it. Simple y'all was on it would do. And then also make sure if you have any questions or something you want us to address next time, let us know. So then we can make sure that we include that
Yeah.
in our next
Yeah.
conversation, because it's great to deliver content and information, but we want to make sure that we're meeting you where you are and that we can help you move to the
Yeah.
next level in financial stewardship.
Yes.
So thank you so much for joining the Closer Experience with Tony and Eleshia, and we'll be back next Wednesday right here, Pastor Tony and Pastor Eleshia with Money University. Good night.
Good night.